feels like we're taking flack here, the way the way the car's bumping and jumping up and down. So this is the second day again. I've made a video first part, but it was too long. So yeah, the morning bit was just, I think it goes on for about 20 minutes.
Fabulous.
Yeah. So I've had to make a second. That is interesting. Okay. But I've had to make a second video for the day, our first full day. And today we are off to Bodiam Castle. Bodiam Castle.
A castle starts with B.
Bodiam Castle, it definitely is. And it's a 14th century castle. I believe it was they started to build it in about 1370. It was completed in 1375.
I don't really know, guess. Just wait till we get there and do it.
Because it's fine. I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional explorer.
Right,
is it all right going over there? I'm trying to run sheep down in the field. So anyway, yes, it's 14th century anyway, and it was built by a chap who fought in the 100 Years' War for France, and I have no idea where that car's going. It's all over the road. What is he doing?
I don't know. It's just giving a bit of space, shall we?
Yeah, I would.
Keep driving up my arse.
Anyway, we're on our way there, and it's an interesting castle. There's still an awful lot of it left. The outside is more or less complete. The inside is empty. But interestingly, it has a couple of ghost stories attached to it that I've done a little bit of research on, and yeah, I'll tell you more about those when we get there. And we're gonna have a little walk around and just see what we can see, get involved with some stuff, and go from there. Are you looking forward to the castle, Hazel?
Yes.
Are you looking forward to being lectured at too?
I'm not going to listen.
By my... Okay. What about you kids? You looking forward to the castle?
Yes. I got haircuts.
You got haircuts?
Haircuts. That's Fox's way of saying he's got hiccups. But he calls it haircuts.
We don't correct him.
I've got no hiccups. We don't correct him, no, because it's quite cute. Yes. So, yeah, join us when we get there and we'll speak to you in a few. We've just missed the steam train going past. Well, we saw it, but I wasn't prepared for video. If you look over there, the castle is just up there, and that's where we're heading for. Where are we? Can't see around the bush yet. There you go, in the background there. So that's cool. Look at this tree. Isn't that a gorgeous thing? Beautiful. The size of it. It's ancient. It's absolutely ancient. It's massive. And just up there, you can see the turrets of the castle. Just in the background there. So we're going to have a walk up there, and there's a Second World War pillbox in the foreground. So we'll potter around there as well. So we're in the National Trust Cafe at the moment. We'll have a spot of lunch before we go up. What you ordered, Willow?
I'll have macaroni.
Nice choice, good choice. Fox has ordered a lunch box thing, isn't it? And they've got 2 back trails. Show me the back trails, please. Well, open that for me. I can't. You got one each? Let's not lose them. They've got back trails. You can walk around the castle. So, oh, okay. Let's show you this Bodiam back trail thing. There you go. There's your whole back trail thing, which is quite interesting for the children. Quite interesting for me, to be fair.
There's a pencil in there.
That's when you put it in.
So that looks pretty cool. What have you got there?
Oh, look.
That's pretty cool. That's not going for the kids. I don't know how much that was, but it did cost us money. What are those for?
No idea.
It must be just have a look on the back and see what it says. Okay.
I think that might be a prize.
What's this?
Hang on, there might be an activity to do.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
What activity?
I'm liking that. Yeah, I like that a lot. It's 4.
Wait.
Perfect.
Absolutely no idea.
You got a bat as well, look. You got a little bat. Bat.
And a red.
And a red ribbon. I guess you tie that to the back, don't you? To look.
Yeah.
And then hang it up somewhere on the trail.
That might be the prize.
How much was it?
£10.
Each?
Yes.
Yeah. For a bit of paper.
Cut out cardboard bats.
A bit of paper. But you know what? It's interesting. It's something for the kids to do, and it's worthwhile. Because, yeah, brilliant. Thank you, Willow. Thank you. So there you can see the castle. just at the top, and it's actually surrounded by a moat, but the moat itself is only 4 foot deep. So even though it wouldn't really inhibit any attackers to the castle itself, it probably would have put them off to some extent. But yeah, it's 4 foot deep at its deepest point, I believe. And I'll tell you more about the ghost stories when we get up there. They're quite interesting, actually. So they've left me now, and they're ambling up to the castle. I should be going in there shortly, excuse me. Now, the first ghost story is to do with this actual moat. It's actually to do with the walkway that goes into the castle itself, where you can see Hazel and the kids there now. And it is said, and it's quite often seen, there is an apparition, or they believe to be a spirit of a little boy, and they believe he's a little Victorian boy, and he comes down this path just next to where I'm pointing now, and he makes his way all the way onto the boardwalk there and right the way across to the actual castle. Now, I'm guessing that boardwalk there is not the original one. There probably wouldn't have been, well, there wouldn't have been one in its heyday, but during the Victorian period there would have been, and it would have been a different one to that, but it's still in the same place, so the structure is still in the same spot. So he's seen running across there, and as he sort of gets towards the castle itself, he dissipates, completely disappears. He's been described as, I think it was Richard Jones, the historian, and he does lots of paranormal walks and paranormal stories. He described it as a Dickensian. The child was Dickensian looking. Now, the second apparition is normally spotted at one of the turrets, top of the turrets, or the top of the towers. It could either be one of these that you see here, or there's two around the back, and that is said to be of a lady who is dressed in red. Not the lady that's up there at the moment, I don't think, but she seems to be wearing what could be described as sort of medieval clothing. And her apparition is seen there quite often. I think it's been seen quite recently as well. And she just stands there silently, and she looks out. Her eyes are actually focused on something in the distance. And yeah, she's been seen there. I don't know if there's any other apparitions or spirits attached to this building. I would think that these spirits that they're seeing are probably, I would think that they are probably what we call stone tape. So, or place memory, as I like to call them. So they are images of things that have happened, particularly emotional things, and they've just become imprinted on the environment. They've become imprinted on the materials of the building or the water, because the water is a living thing. The stone is a recordable thing, and of course, if you put those together with the natural environment, they could be just recordings. I might be wrong. They might be intelligent energies or spirits, so they might be able to be active, and they might be able to sort of become involved with living people. But as far as I can see, it sounds like they are just place memories. They're just environmental energies that are actually imprinted, or stories that are imprinted onto the stonework and into the environment, into the water. So yeah, it's amazing. As you probably know, water is a living thing. It's a conduit. It's an energy, and those energies they can be used by spirit to either gain energies themselves, to become active, to become visible. This is what is purported to happen. This is what people believe. So yeah, but it's a beautiful view from here. Absolutely stunning. So I think you'll agree with me, that's a very impressive piece of architecture, a very impressive building indeed. And as I say, it's 14th century, so it was built in the mid-1300s, latter part of 1300s. Pop inside now. It's actually quite a nice little amble up to the castle itself, as you can see. So impressive. It's such a beautiful environment around it. Just thought I'd get this structure in. So this is actually on the actual beginning of or where it would come out to. This would be the defence. This is where it would be end, I would imagine. And they say that if you look carefully, a lot of the stones have got sort of maker's marks on and graffiti. I've just noticed this actually. Quite distinctive. Not sure of the age of it, but nonetheless, it's all part and parcel in the history of this beautiful, beautiful castle. Oh, there, 1857 there. You can see that, guys. There you go. Hello. Thank you very much. Thank you. My wife has got it. She's just gone in there with children.
And I saw
Exactly.
You there, and I saw you wave. That's it.
Is that verification okay? Yeah. Excellent. Thank you very much. Well, there is that. Yeah, there is. You know me.
She said she came with those cards.
She did. Look at all this. It's amazing.
Most of it is 18th and 19th century.
Right.
Nearly all of it.
Oh, okay.
There are a few exceptions. We've got the 1691 that you're just looking at here.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
And there's another 1691 at the rear.
And that's probably about as far back as it goes, is it? The writing, the graffiti.
Yeah. But the marks in the castle do go back a lot further.
I'm guessing they're builders' marks and stuff, are they all?
The mason's marks,
Yeah.
which are the castle builders.
Yeah.
We've got the ritual marks,
Right.
which are like what we call witches' marks.
Yeah, yeah.
And then we've got the render marks, because the castle was rendered.
Oh, okay. Oh, right, okay.
So it would have been white.
Right, okay. Oh, excellent.
That's very impressive.
That's wonderful. Thank you ever so much. Thank you. It was nice of the chap to show us that and tell us about that. Here we go. Oh, there's structural work going on here, look. This is very cool. So amazing. I do somewhat like to ruminate about these places, and when I look around I imagine what they were like in their heyday. I mean, great big open fires, feasts, banqueting halls, knights, damsels as it were, craftsmen, the lower orders or peasants outside. As that's where cities and towns have built up over the generations. You always find them at the base of a castle, generally outside. The population comes because the castle is a great area to deal in trade, and it's there for safety as well. So a lot of these villages they originally start out as market towns, or little markets, then they'd evolve into towns, and then they become cities. But you can just imagine, can't you, the music that was playing in here, the piped music or pipe music, the ancient instruments like the lyre, the velvet robes and gowns, the armour, the clashing of swords, the great big, as I say, the great big open fires, logs on them, and of course the feasts. Just imagine. You can imagine it, can't you? Well, I can. It's very evocative of these buildings. Very evocative. Just breathtakingly beautiful. Over here, guys, there's the children, Hazel, and a trebuchet. There's a trebuchet behind you, look. See the trebuchet? Amazing, isn't it? Here you go, look at that. It looks quite innocuous, but it's actually, in truth, a vicious piece of weaponry, a real nasty piece of kit. But amazing. And of course, it wasn't just rocks and stuff that they put in those, they also put decaying body parts as well, because they felt that if they could cast the dead into the castle, it would cause disease and all sorts of problems. And of course, the castle being held, it wouldn't be held for long if disease was rife in it. And of course, they would cast the enemies back into the castle from that trebuchet bucket there.
We saw the smartest thing in there. You know the little... This is my stepmom's...
Things the kids are impressed by, right? There's apparently, what is there, Willow? There was a what up there?
There was a toilet in the same place as the archery.
Well, it would have been called a gardelue at the time. Yeah. It would have been a toilet, gardelue. A lot of the words that we have now are from the French. Because the people that built these, the people that sort of invaded were Normans, so they were of French stock.
Yeah, and Mum said, oh my gosh, look at this, and I said it's called multitasking.
Multitasking? What?
Multitasking.
Pooing while you're shooting?
Yeah. You can have a poo
So were there arrow slits up there? Were there?
Whilst you're protecting the castle at the same time.
See, you've learned stuff already. One can poo and kill at the same time.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
Amazing. Amazing.
Amazing. Yes, the chap at the door was saying that the earliest stuff goes back to about 1600, or the 17th century. But he was saying that there's sort of stonemason marks on the building as well from when it was built. And of course, as he said, it would have been, well, that's probably some of the original plaster work there. And it would have been all white. Such a cool place. Yeah, I'm not attempting those stairs, I'm not breaking my leg.
The door will not shut.
God, it's amazing. It's just amazing. Look at those fireplaces up there. See, denotes each floor. You can see the marking where the floor was. But look at those fireplaces. They must have been amazing in their day. Possibly each one to a bedroom, I would imagine. Window seats. Just fantastic. So there, guys, is the actual plan of the layout of the castle as it was. Fox's head's in the way. There you go. Hope you can zoom in on that or have a look at it if you're interested. It's an amazing place. Right, out we go. Fantastic visit. So we were just speaking to one of the guides there, and he was saying that that castle, the chap that owned that castle originally, he only really enjoyed it for 10 years of his life. It was built and then he passed away 10 years later. And apparently, which is really unusual, is he came from peasant stock. His family worked the fields around here. But during the 100 Years' War, he went abroad with a knight, particularly, how shall we say, bloodthirsty knight. They went to France for the 100 Years' War, and the knight that he went with was completely unforgiving. He was absolutely vicious and what have you. And the chap the peasant who ended up owning that castle, had it built, he went to war with him whilst he was still a peasant. But he was so good at what he did. They would kidnap damsels, they would kidnap dignitaries, they would kidnap royalty, and then they would hold them to ransom. And of course, when they returned with lots and lots of booty, lots and lots of money. And of course, once he came back with money, and also on the battlefield, or certainly while he was at the 100 Years' War, this particularly nasty knight actually knighted him, which I didn't realise a knight could knight you, but seemingly at the time it was. And being knighted, he came back. So he came back with money, he came back with a knighthood, even though he was knighted by another knight, and he married into aristocracy, and that is how he got the money. That wasn't his original home. His original home was over there, and apparently that castle there wouldn't really put up much resistance in a siege, although it was sieged during the Civil War. Sorry, during the War of the Roses, but it wouldn't put up much of a siege because it was more or less a home as such. Too many windows in it, there was glass, there was too many areas that were weak, the structure was weak itself. So the king gave him the rights to build a castle, or to actually strengthen his already existing abode, but he didn't. He took his poetic license and then pulled his original house down and built that castle. But you had to have permission at the time during the medieval period to do anything if you were of peasant stock or if you weren't a king. And the king granted him permission to build that structure that you see behind us. So pretty amazing history and a pretty amazing place. Nice. You're quite friendly, aren't you? Up. Nice.
Mine looks
Right, we've had a good day here, so I think that's going to be it for the day. What do you reckon, Willow?
I think
Did you enjoy it? What do you reckon, Hazel?
that was really good.
What about you, Fox? Did you enjoy your day?
You?
Yeah, she did good. Yeah, a nod in the affirmative is fine. Yeah, it was good. Very historically good. Willow got bored by listening to the man, but I kept him going because I kept asking more questions. He did write swear words on that. Terrible. Right, so that's it, guys. So say goodbye, everybody.
Bye.
Hazel?
See you
Charming.
next time we do a video.
Yeah, see you next time.